in a row. The Spa-Francorchamps circuit may be the finest in the world, but the one with the greatest atmosphere and tradition is here at Monza. For this is the sole remaining Grand Prix location where the greats of motor racing have competed since the early 1920s. It's where the fabled, fanatical tifosi care for little but Ferrari, and it's where here, today, Alain Prost could clinch his 4th World Championship. After taking an enforced sabbatical last year, Prost's return in the superlative Williams-Renault has been predictably successful. With 7 wins from 12 races and now 12 pole positions, only 2 off Nigel Mansell's record, he needs only to finish 2 points ahead of Senna today, unless Damon Hill wins. And that could happen. With successive victories in Hungary and Belgium, Damon is sure of himself and relaxed. His Williams-Renault is the class of the field, and as the Formula 3000 lap record holder, he knows and likes Monza, and his confidence is high.
I think it's got that sort of historic feel to it. You know, it's a venue that everyone knows means motor racing, and the famous people that have raced here over, nearly over a century, and so that's good. I mean, it's got a few chicanes which have broken up the feel of the place, but it's still got some considerably quick corners.
Monza is the fastest Grand Prix circuit of all. With 10 victories, Ferrari have won the most. And for the Italian Grand Prix, they always make a very special effort. Jean Alesi has been inspired in practice, but Gerhard Berger knows what it's like to win here for Ferrari.
Emotionally, it's the best thing what you can do after win a World Championship. I mean, the best thing is still a World Championship. But to win in Monza with Ferrari, a great thing.
When you look at Ferrari from the point of view of an outsider, you say, here is a company with the money, with the facilities, with the personnel, with the experience, but they're not winning. Why aren't they winning?
I think makes me happy that the situation is like this, because that means it's not just money important, I mean, it's really the people important there. And the good people, since I am coming here, is increasing. And just when you get to a level of good people, to the right level of good people, you're going to be competitive enough to win races.
But on Saturday, after he talked to me, Gerhard was involved in this terrific shunt as he tried to pass his teammate, Jean Alesi, at the end of the session. Thank heavens he's okay and will race today. The Lotus team are a centre of attraction here, partly because Pedro Lamy from Portugal is standing in for Sandro Zanardi after his Belgian crash, but also because, to the envy of the other teams, Honda have chosen Lotus for their return to racing next year. And there's a new driver for Jordan too, with Marco Apicella replacing Thierry Boutsen. So everyone expects Prost to win, but what if Damon Hill was tucked up under his rear wing on the last lap?
Well, I get a toe and go past, don't I?
The 2 Williams in front again, but not so far this time, with Jean Alesi only 0.8 of a second slower. Senna is quicker than Schumacher this time, with a very lucky Gerhard Berger starting 6th ahead of an excellent Johnny Herbert. And Michael Andretti much happier at 9th. Derek Warwick and Martin Brundle 11th and 12th, and Mark Blundell 14th. The 2 Tyrrells are much better here, Katayama 17th and De Cesaris 18th. Marco Apicella starts 23rd for his first Grand Prix, and Pedro Lamy 26th for his. And the unfortunate JJ Leto stalled on the grid. He's got to start from the back. Now, let's see. Prost gets away well. Alesi is alongside Hill. Senna is behind Alesi. No problem so far. Up into the Rettifilio. It is Prost leading. It looks like Alesi in second place, and it is. And Senna and Hill have contact. And Senna goes off. Senna goes off, and you can see that there's a couple of spinners there. One of them, it looks like Katayama in the Tyrrell. Now, has Damon Hill's race been finished before? It has almost begun. Hopefully we'll soon know. Prost is certainly leading. Alesi is in second position. through the Rogier, that is. There's a big gap before the third place man goes through, and it's Schumacher. Berger is in third position, and Johnny Herbert on the first half of the lap is up into fourth place. Drama and excitement at the Italian Grand Prix right from the beginning, and sadly it looks as though Damon Hill's problem was a major one. I don't know any more than you do at the moment. So we're now down to the Ascari Benz that used to be the Vialoni. I believe Damon Hill is still running. It's Prost, Alesi, Schumacher third, Berger is fourth, Johnny Herbert is fifth, Martin Brundle is sixth, Patrese is seventh, Andretti is eighth. Damon Hill is running and is in ninth position, but a fair way back.
Let's have another look there. So we can see how they are. Now, they are literally side by side. Looks like Senna ran a little bit wide there. He perhaps didn't give Damon as much room as he could have had, and that's what happened. But both were absolutely broadside. No one clearly culpable. And that's both footwork spinning off there together. That is both footworks just as we leave them spinning off there. That's Derek Warwick and Aguri Suzuki.
And Prost leading into the Rettifilio on the first lap. You can see Alesi behind him in second place. You can see Senna coming through in the red and white car to try and get through on the inside. Damon Hill moves slightly to the left. He's offline.
Yes, I think seeing that again, I think Senna did go too wide on that first corner, on that first left-hand part. He didn't keep it tight enough. He should have known that Damon was there. He ran wide, maybe he lost grip, and ran basically into the side of Damon Hill and up in the air.
Now we're riding with Damon Hill now. This is another replay, and you can see the Ferrari in front. Damon is forced to the right over the curbing and the grass, corrects his line. Meantime, Senna has gone off. There's the Benetton going through of Michael Schumacher up into the third place that he's holding now. Martin Brundle is in sixth position, and here is the running order on lap 4. Alain Prost leading by 2.5 seconds. The battle between the Ferrari of Alesi and the Benetton of Schumacher. Here comes Berger's Ferrari. So Ferraris are second and fourth. Great news for the Italian fans. And there is Damon Hill coming up through the field. He's in seventh place now. Senna is behind Patrese, who is eighth. So Damon Hill has managed to get a car between himself and the Brazilian. Behind Johnny Herbert is Damon Hill. Damon Hill then has got past Martin Brundle. The Williams Renault is really flying. Hill from second on the grid down to 10th as a result of that coming together with Senna, is now up 3 places, and it won't be very much longer before he is challenging Gerhard Berger, because Damon Hill is 5th. He's past Herbert. Brundle is in 7th place. Senna is 8th. Patrese is 9th. And while you watch Berger and Hill fighting for 4th position, I'll tell you that Schumacher is starting to catch Prost. The gap is down to 2.8 seconds between first and second. Alesi third, there he is. Now, is Damon Hill going to get past the Ferrari of Gerhard Berger? He's tucked up underneath his rear wing. He's challenging as they come into the Parabolica. Gerhard Berger moves across. Hill had sold him a dummy and moves to the right and takes that place from Gerhard Berger. And Damon Hill is now up into 4th position. Next target is Jean Alesi's Ferrari.
Yes, that was a very good straightforward overtaking manoeuvre from Hill. Performed very well. He got the toe, he was in the slipstream, he picked up that necessary 5 miles an hour, perhaps extra top speed, moved initially to the left so that Gerhard would block the left, then came to the inside, which is the conventional way of doing it, into the Parabolica, clean line and away. Great driving.
And out goes Ayrton Senna. Senna has retired, and Damon Hill is challenging Alesi for 3rd position as they come up to the first chicane, the Rettifilio, and goes straight through. A brilliant move by Damon Hill, who is now in 3rd position. He's some way behind Michael Schumacher, and that's Johnny Herbert. And this is a replay of Ayrton Senna just driving straight into the back of, no doubt, a livid Martin Brundle, because that's taken the Englishman out as well. So Senna is out and Martin Brundle is out. Meantime, on lap 10 out of 53, Alain Prost has increased his lead over Schumacher to 3.8 seconds. And Damon Hill is now ahead of the French Sicilian Alesi, who is in 4th position. We're on lap 11. Prost is steadily increasing his lead. It's 4.2 seconds. Damon Hill goes through 3rd. He's 9 seconds behind Schumacher, and he's lapping slower than the German. In 5th position is Gerhard Berger, so the Ferraris are 4th and 5th. Johnny Herbert is still in the points in 6th position. Riccardo Patrese has taken advantage of the retirement of Brundle and Senna to move up into 7th place in the 2nd Benetton, and you're watching Alain Prost, race leader. And that is Johnny Herbert, and that's a big one. Johnny Herbert walks away, no problem, but the Lotus has gone off in a very, very big way. I'll identify where it is in a moment. And Johnny, who of course broke his legs very, very badly in the Formula 3000 crash at Brands Hatch some years ago. He's got no problems now, but that was a nasty, nasty off. And the whole of the left rear of the Lotus has been destroyed. And that means to say now that Karl Wendlinger, the Austrian in the Sauber chassis and Sauber engine, is now in the points in 6th position. Mark Blundell is 7th. Gerhard Berger must have been in for tyres, because as we watch John Alesi, I can tell you that Berger is down to 8th position. There you see a replay of Johnny Herbert going off in a very big way indeed. Now, I missed the entry to that. It looked like the Parabolica to me.
Yes, Murray, I agree entirely. That was the Parabolica, and it looked like Johnny went off in about the middle of the corner.
But that is Jean Alesi exiting the Parabolica, which is where Johnny Herbert went off at nearly 180 miles an hour. And Gerhard Berger's Ferrari there, number 28, is in the garage on lap 18 out of 53. That is a major retirement.
Well, I suspect the problem was engine, or perhaps gearbox more likely. We didn't see any smoke emanating from the back of the car. Difficult weekend for Gerhard. Shame it stopped, obviously, for him. But let's really hope that Alesi keeps going. Prost has got this race very much in control. He's 5 seconds ahead of Schumacher. The gap pretty steady there, but in fact on that lap, you know, he lost 4 seconds. He did a 29.4 that lap. He's been running in the 25s, 26s. So 3 to 4 seconds he lost from traffic, and that kind of difference is absolutely crucial. And if drivers get it wrong or they get unlucky, leads can be eroded very, very quickly. And that kind of feeling is very worrying for a driver. When Prost knows he's got Schumacher 5 seconds behind, he feels the pressure, he feels Schumacher breathing down his neck, and he desperately hopes he can find a way by the traffic when it doesn't cost him time, which means getting by on the straights and not being held up through the corners.
Now, down in the pit lane somewhere is the unfortunate Martin Brundle, who I hope can hear me. Let me just say, Martin, that it looked a pretty outrageous move from our point of view, because Ayrton Senna appeared literally to drive into the back of you. Is that what happened?
That's exactly what happened, Murray. He wasn't actually trying to overtake me. I think he was thinking about it a few hundred metres earlier, but I think he just completely missed his brakes. That's how he explained it to me. A simple incident like that, really. But it was quite amazing how quickly my car re-accelerated off the road.
You sound astonishingly calm and reflective about it, Martin. I would have expected you to be about 6 feet off the ground.
That's not going to put my Ligier Renault back on the racetrack, Murray, so there's not a lot of point in doing that.
Well, as you speak, Martin, Mark Blundell has lost his Ligier in the biggest possible way coming out of the Parabolica. He's fighting to recover it as he goes down the straight, but he will most certainly be out of the race.
Absolutely, yes. Mark Blundell, he's got a left rear puncture there. Now, what's interesting is that he'd just been into the pits for a new set of tyres the previous lap. So it seems that that tyre has gone down straight away. I don't think it's the wheel coming off. I think it is. Yes, you can see him running wide. Look, no, not at all. I beg your pardon. No, he's lost it. So that means he was on cold tyres. The tyres had gone on that lap. That was his out lap from the pits. He ran wide, and that's a Benetton stop.
Now, is it Patrese or is it Schumacher? I cannot see. I need to get a closer look at the car. It's Schumacher. Michael Schumacher is out of the Italian Grand Prix, and that means Damon Hill moves up into 2nd place. And unless Alain Prost has problems, it means to say that he's got the World Championship virtually in his pocket. Now, here is a replay of Michael Schumacher chasing Wendlinger, and it looks like a straight engine blow-up. And Alain Prost has lapped everybody up to Riccardo Patrese, who is in 4th place. The Frenchman looking utterly confident, as well he might. After all, he's already got 3 World Championships behind him, and this is his 196th Grand Prix, of which he has won 51. The chap who's won more Grand Prix races and scored more World Championship points than anybody else in the history of the championship, which started in 1950. And that is Riccardo Patrese from 4th place into the pits. Now, the Benetton team had an absolutely fantastic 4.5 seconds pit stop in Belgium. Patrese was a bit slower. He came into the pits in 4th position. He's lost. No, he won't have lost places because Karl Wendlinger is 46 seconds behind him. And that is Alain Prost in the pits. Alain Prost now, is he going to get away? Well, is always the question one has to ask, because he has failed to do so once or twice this season, but not this time. Prost, of course, had got all the time in the world, but the gap between himself and Damon Hill is right down. In fact, Damon Hill is closing right up on Prost as he goes into the Rettifilo. It's less than 2.5 seconds, and there is Hill. Now, this is a bit misleading because, of course, Alain Prost is on new rubber and Damon Hill isn't, but we don't know what Hill's plans are. He might decide to stay out and take a chance on the loss of performance.
Yes, he may well. It may well be that they'll try and run a one-stop routine for Prost, but let Damon go all the way through. And I think the answer will be determined over the next couple of laps. If Damon can live with Prost, or even not drop away too quickly, they may keep him out. And the other bit of information that they're really going to need to know is what the tyre wear looks like from Prost's car, from the tyres that have come off Prost's car. And the Goodyear engineers will be looking at those tyres now. The tyres start at 4 millimetres useful tread depth. Once they get down to 2 millimetres, they really are past good grip performance, and so they look to change them then. So I think over the next few laps we shall see Damon probably come in. I somehow doubt that he can keep up. He hasn't managed to do so on the same set of tyres originally, so I think he'll probably come in.
And of course, it's absolutely critical for Damon Hill that he gets past Alain Prost quickly, because Damon Hill, his tyres are up to race temperature. So effectively will Alain Prost be, but there's always that little doubt. But Damon Hill has not done it, and Prost is now in a strong position. And Damon Hill himself comes into the pits. So the gap will go up from 2.5 seconds, which it was when he peeled off, to, I would suspect, about 18 seconds, which it was before he went into the pits. So on lap 28 now, Alain Prost is still leading. Hill is still second as he emerges and should be through and out of the pits before Jean Alesi in 3rd place goes through. And Riccardo Patrese is still 4th, Wendlinger is 5th, Martini is 6th, Katayama is 7th, Comas is 8th, Pedro Lamy, the young Portuguese driver in the 2nd Lotus in his first Grand Prix, is in 9th place ahead of Luca Badoer 10th, Fittipaldi 11th, Michael Andretti is in 12th position, and there are still 17 runners out of the 26 who started. And sure enough, the gap, as I forecast, between Prost and Hill has returned to 19 seconds. It was 18 before Hill went into the pits after Alain Prost had done so for a second set of tyres. We've talked to Martin Brundle. Sadly, we have to talk to Mark Blundell, who went out in even more exciting circumstances. It looked to us, Mark, I hope I'm not being unfair, as though you just lost it coming out of the Parabolica. True or false?
Not really, Murray. Just had a new set of tyres put on, and had an extra grip from the tyres. Went into the Parabolica in front of Wendlinger because we'd made a good advantage in the pit stop. And for some reason, just like a slippery surface or something there, some gravel went straight off, couldn't control the car on the grass, and unfortunately clipped the rear wheel on the barrier, as you saw. Mark,
rotten luck, because you've already had 2 third places this year, and you're 8th in the World Championship in your first season for Ligier. We all hope that you're going to retain the seat for next year. Any news?
No news as yet, but I'm trying and I'm pushing hard, so hopefully I'll be around next year.
Yeah, we hope so too. Meantime, we're very sorry to see you out of the race as we ride with Christian Fittipaldi in 11th position, chasing the Lola Ferrari of Luca Badoer. And coming towards us, Riccardo Patrese being lapped by Alain Prost, and Patrese is in 4th position. So Alain Prost is not letting his concentration dim. He's maintaining his momentum. And the gap between Prost and Hill is now 9.7 seconds. That is a massive chunk out of the Frenchman's lead. And Damon has again broken the lap record. 1 minute 24.39. I think we have a motor race on our hands.
I think we do indeed. Now that really is significant. Certainly Prost must have been held up by traffic. But nevertheless, 24.3 is dramatically faster than anything Prost has done before. And that was, by the way, Hill that did that 24.3. So Hill has really got the bit between his teeth.
That is Riccardo Patrese in 4th position and into the pits. Now, this is his second set of tyres. This is a traditional Benetton move now. Good stop, 5.41 seconds. And this Benetton respond favourably to fresh rubber. Well, all cars do, but this is their tactic. Time and time again in a Grand Prix, Schumacher and Patrese have come in for 2 stops when others have stopped once, or 1 stop when others have not stopped at all, and it has often paid off. But now Prost and Hill are battling, as you well know, and a shake of the fist from Jean Alesi to Karl Wendlinger, and the Austrian is refusing to give way, and Jean Alesi, who's got a very fiery Sicilian temperament when he's roused, he's the nicest possible bloke out of the cockpit, but he can get very irate, and he storms his way past Karl Wendlinger, and that's another lap then, and the Ferrari has lost a lot of time. There is Damon Hill. Now, Prost is only just ahead of the battle between the Lola of Badoa and the Minardi of Fittipaldi, and Damon Hill is closing up on them fast. So if Damon can get a clean move past these 2 cars who will be preoccupied with their own battle, there's a good bit of marshalling as the marshal waves the blue flag to tell them that there's someone trying to get past them. But, of course, Badoa may well think he's referring to Christian Fittipaldi when, in fact, he's referring to Damon Hill. And Damon Hill's opportunity is right now. And there is Prost. There is Prost leading, coming down to the Parabolica, and Damon Hill comes out and passes Fittipaldi, does he? As Fittipaldi takes the opportunity to try and follow through, and Damon Hill takes both of them. Now, it's a clear track between Damon Hill and Alain Prost. The gap was 7.8 seconds. It's nothing like that now. And I'm waiting for Prost to go through as I talk to you. So there is Damon Hill, 0. Prost goes across the line, and the gap is down to 4 seconds. Marvellous. Damon Hill with the prospect of catching Alain Prost. And what a fight that would be, because they are now on lap 43 out of 53. And the battle between Badoa and Fittipaldi continues, as does this battle behind Alesi between Wendlinger and Patrese and Michael Andretti. And Michael Andretti is really coming good. Up into 5th position past Riccardo Patrese's Benetton. Great stuff for the American. And Fittipaldi going forward has to come into the Rettifilio, and again failing to get past Luca Badoa.
Yes, you can see that Badoa is very sensibly taking the inside line. He's making Fittipaldi try to go around the outside, although he's not yet done it.
Now, the thing that fascinates me, Jonathan, is that Damon is lapping 2 seconds faster than Prost at the present moment.
Yes, he does, and that's Andretti going through. Andretti.
Now, Michael Andretti is up into 4th place. Good cheer. He really deserves this, because he has had an enormous amount of criticism, both from his own side of the Atlantic and this side. And we need to look at the leaders now, because Damon Hill is 1.7 seconds behind Alain Prost, and they're on lap 46 out of 53. The closing stages of the Italian Grand Prix are going to be really something. So Prost is leading just. Hill is 2nd, Alesi is 3rd, Andretti is up into 4th place. There is Damon Hill chasing Alain Prost. 5th is Wendlinger, 6th is Patrese, 7th is Martini, 8th is Comas, 9th is Lamy. But let's concentrate on this. This is the battle for the lead. Alain Prost must surely have some sort of trouble. This is lap 46. There are 7 laps to go, including the one that they're on. And Alain Prost, I think, is going to lose the lead to Damon Hill after they come out of the Parabolica, because there are no team orders, and Damon is in with a shout to take the lead in the Italian Grand Prix. He's right up behind the rear wing of Alain Prost now. Prost knows it, moves across. He's entitled to do that, to take his line into the Parabolica. These 2 are not going to do anything silly. They're teammates, they're good friends, but this is a real battle. Make no mistake about it. So Prost goes through. He's about to complete his 46th lap. The crowd is cheering, the crowd is waving, and there's traffic ahead of them. And as you well know, this can affect the race, because it's one of the Larusses chasing Fittipaldi now. There's Fittipaldi and Eric Comas behind him, and Prost has got to get past, first of all, the Larousse and then the Minardi, and he'll hope to do that and put them between his car and Damon Hill's. We're on lap 48 out of 53.
Absolutely, that's just the kind of thing that Damon's going to want. He'll know that Prost has got these two slower cars ahead of him. He's going to hope that they actually hold him up through Ascari, and I'm sure they will. They're coming down to Ascari now, and I suspect Prost will have to follow those through too. And then, yes, now Prost, yeah, he's following through Ascari here, 100 miles an hour, fourth gear, coming round. And although he doesn't look that close, they are undoubtedly slowing him up. Now, look at the gap. The gap is visibly closer. This could be the chance that Damon needs to get, if he can get by these two slower cars, past the Minardi, past the Larousse, and it's a big mobile traffic jam here, because he needs to get right on that tail through Parabolica. No, he's not done it. He wasn't close enough. He couldn't get past the Minardi through Parabolica. He's coming alongside now, but it's too late to get the tow again from Alain Prost, and he needs that tow to get by.
We're with Damon Hill, and he can see Alain Prost passing Eric Comas's Larousse. He's done it. So Prost goes into the Rettifilio, the double chicane in front of the Larousse, the Minardi and his teammate Damon Hill, and Alain Prost is now on his 49th lap out of 53, and there's an engine. What happened? Is that Prost? Yes, it is Alain Prost, and Damon Hill is surely going to go through into the lead. There's Comas, he's gone through. We need to have a look at Damon Hill, because Alain Prost, just as Ayrton Senna did those years back, not once but twice, he's retiring in the closing stages of the Italian Grand Prix, and Damon Hill goes into the lead. This is a replay, and Damon will have seen that great plume of smoke from Prost's Renault engine, and that put oil, incidentally, all over the camera lens and potentially his visor, as a sad, disillusioned Alain Prost climbs out of his Williams, knowing that the World Championship that he wanted so much, the fourth World Championship, is not going to be his in Monza.
Yes, an absolutely superb result looking on the cards for Damon Hill, but we all know the dangers of predicting anything. And one really can wonder whether or not Damon pushing so well, so hard, actually provoked Prost into using his car harder, getting that bit more out of the engine, which just tipped it over that fine balance. Whatever way, Damon has driven really at this point a faultless race. I don't think that earlier mistake or that earlier incident with Senna was down to him. I think it was down to Senna, and a hat-trick of victories is quite magnificent for him.
Ultimo Giro, and Damon Hill is on it. The last lap, the 53rd 3.6-mile lap of this historic circuit at Monza, and the potential in just a few seconds' time of a third successive victory, a hat-trick. And Damon said to me yesterday, I want to win this race just as much as I wanted to win in Belgium, just as much as I wanted to win in Hungary. Let us remind ourselves too that Damon failed to win in Germany and in Britain through no fault of his own. He could have won 5 Grand Prix, maybe even 6 if you include Spain this year. And if anybody has demonstrated time and time and time again that he deserves to be where he is now next year in the second Williams, it is Damon Hill. He exits the Ascari Benz for the last time. He comes down to the Parabolica for the last time, with Alesi second, Andretti third, Wendlinger fourth, Patrese fifth, Comas sixth, Martini 7th, Fittipaldi 8th, Alio 9th and Badoa 10th. And Damon Hill exits the Parabolica. He's into the last straight now. He waves his hand, and Damon Hill wins in Italy, as he won in Belgium, as he won in Hungary. That gives him another 10 World Championship points and takes him back into second place in the World Championship, ahead of Senna and Christian Fittipaldi with that wheel off. My goodness, a dramatic finish in Italy as the Minardi rolls along on 3 wheels. Alesi exits the Parabolica to cheers from the Tifosi. He's going to finish in second place. The yellow flag is a warning flag to tell him that there's a problem with Fittipaldi's car in front of him, and that is Michael Andretti finishing lapped in third position, with the Minardi stranded in the middle of the circuit. And Fittipaldi, I'm confident, will be quite all right because he was in the cockpit. And this is what happened, and I didn't see that. That is Fittipaldi
Yes, that was Fittipaldi there. He tried to come up, he tried to overtake Martini. He just touches, look at the car, goes up through the vertical, absolutely over, a complete 360-degree somersault, back on more or less its wheels. What an amazingly miraculous escape there.
Well, what an incredible finish to the Italian Grand Prix. Damon Hill's third successive victory. John Alesi second, Michael Andretti in third position ahead of Carl Wendlinger, Riccardo Patrese fifth, and Eric Comas sixth, 2 laps down. Damon, Hungary, then Belgium, now this. Has it sunk in yet?
I was almost in tears before I crossed the line. It was just brilliant. You know, very, very emotional and a wonderful feeling. The odds are against anyone winning 3 Grand Prix on the trot, and I didn't think at the beginning of the season that I'd ever win 3 on the trot.
I thought your race was over before it had almost begun with that first corner collision. What did you think?
Yeah, me too. I mean, the car took a bit of a knock twice and went over the curbs twice. And when you see the care and attention that's put into preparing the cars, to have that happen on the first 2 corners is not really the best way to start. Senna was alongside me, and I could see his right front wheel coming in. I thought, well, I'll try and squeeze him out because otherwise he's through. And it was the old argy-bargy, and you know, he biffed me and I biffed him back, and we went up the curb, and you know, it was, you know, I didn't leave him much room, but at Monaco he got through the gap. It was minute, and I thought, well, that's not happening again if I get the opportunity.
I have to say that after your tyre stop, I thought it was all over as far as the race was concerned. Prost first, Hill second. You were 19 seconds behind, but you clawed all that back. What information were you getting from the pits, from the board and for your radio?
Well, obviously my gap to Alain, and also that I was getting increasing oil temperature on the engine, and Monza's hard on engines, and so once I'd caught up with Alan, it was a case of having to, you know, to not get too close to him, because I think the temperature would have, in getting that close, I think that I'd probably put it into the dangerous area, and I decided to get some air to the engine for a while.
Now that was what that temp slow notice was about, was it?
Yes, temperature, yeah, oil temperature. Yeah.
Now I don't know if this has sunk in yet, but today sees the first time that the son of a Grand Prix has also won a World Championship event at the same circuit.
Is that right? Yeah. Well, I mean, it just gets better. I can't really, I don't know what to say, because I'm going to have to sort of take a week off and think about it all.
Damon Hill's third win and the fastest lap. Who would ever have thought it? He's now second in the World Championship and theoretically could win it. Jean Alesi's highest finish of the year for himself and for Ferrari. Michael Andretti showed that he can do it to shrug off all his critics, and Carl Wendlinger equalled his and Sauber's best ever finish. Riccardo Patrese fifth, and Eric Comas got his first point of the season and his team's second